Right, so hi again. So lots of you will already know that I'm quite a fan of crime fiction. So I thought I'd read you the prologue of a book that I'm reading at the moment. It's called The Chalk Pit, and it's in the Dr Ruth Galloway series of books by Elly Griffiths. She is an archaeologist, but she also does work for the police, looking at bones of recent murders, but also murders that have taken place a while ago as well. Now this is actually the 9th book in the series, would you believe? The first one is called The Crossing Places. I would recommend you read them in order because the stories between the sort of characters continue from one book to the next. So if you start midway through, you won't be quite so sure as to what's going on as you go through the sort of background stories with the characters. All right, set in Norfolk, so a really interesting setting as well. So if you like your crime, your murder mystery and anything about archaeology and the police, then this is maybe a series that you might like to pick up and read. So The Chalk Pit by Elly Griffiths, the prologue. 3:20 a.m, the 3rd of June 2015. He shouldn't really be driving. They all know that. But Solly has probably had the least to drink of all of them, and besides, he has a calm self-possession that makes him able to carry off all sorts of excesses and still remain the reliable, charming boy next door. Boy from the next door mansion, as Dennis once put it. But there are no buses and no one has the money for a taxi, so Solly takes the keys from Em and drives slowly and carefully round the one-way system. Dennis and Em don't help by going wee at the corners and shouting witticisms to the few pedestrians to be seen in Norwich at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. One of them, a police officer pushing a bike, looks up and shakes his fist. "Get off and milk it," yells Dennis. "Shut up, Dennis," says Grace. "People hate students enough as it is." Grace is sitting next to Solly and feel obliged to talk to him, to keep him concentrating on the road. This is difficult enough when the road in question keeps swooping up in front of her and tying itself in knots. God, just how much had she drunk? Those tabs on top of it too. Solly is doing well though, not speeding, looking from left to right at junctions. They are heading out of town now on the A147. Dennis and Em have fallen asleep, but Grace tries to stay awake for Solly's sake. They take the turn into Denning Road. Solly goes slightly wide, but there's nothing coming, so no harm done. "I like this road," says Grace. "I'd love to live in one of those big houses." "Then you'll have to marry a rich man, darling," says Solly, slurring slightly. "That's a bit..." She can't think of the word. "Crap," she settles for. "I might get rich on my own, in my..." Christ, Solly! But he has seen it too. A man standing in the middle of the road with his arms outstretched. There's something biblical about him. Long hair and beard, wearing robes or some kind of cloak. Grace yells and Solly jams on the brakes. The car skids to the other side of the road and Dennis and Em wake up. "What the..." "There was a man in the road," says Grace. But when they get out of the car, there is no one there, just the long road between the tall, dark houses. The Chalk Pit by Elly Griffiths.